I don't like doing many of these. I don't like really doing like commentary on like observations of things that I see. It's a waste of time. I feel like it's just I don't like doing it. It's not my thing really. I just like to, whenever I work on something, it's like, hey, look at this thing I encountered. It's funny. I enjoy this. Look what you can do here. Like with Zelda, it was really just, hey, look at these cool things I figured out I could do. Look at this cool thing. Look at this thing that I didn't recognize or I didn't realize. Like, look at this thing that I had no idea about. And when it comes to like criticism on games, I really just like saying it's not fun. But then when it happens over and over again, it just becomes like, is this a pattern? And it really, it's I don't know if it's a pattern with Ubisoft, but every time like I see one of their games, I get depressed because then I'm like, well, I remember what it used to be. So mostly with like Far Cry. I remember Far Cry 3. Far Cry 3 was a lot of fun. I remember like Far Cry Instincts Predator. It was a fun game. It didn't make a lot of sense, but I would play it just to turn into like the Predator, and then you'd pick up the Predator and you'd hunt down your friends, and it was fun. And then with Far Cry 6 that I played recently, I was like, yeah, no, this isn't fun. This is what I played in Far Cry 3. So what I'm playing is Far Cry 3. But what I'm getting is Far Cry 6 story, and Far Cry 6 story, the writing is a little bit like, it's not good. it's not good. There's like no reason to play it. I might as well be playing Far Cry 3, which had its own issues. Like, I think Far Cry, for all the praise I give Far Cry 3, I think Voss was like the only real cool thing about the game. Like, he had some very unique lines. I think he had some memorable lines, especially the Insanity one.
Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity?
And after you take him out, like, who really cares about Hoyt? Like, people forget that's not a game about Voss. It's a game about Hoyt. And Hoyt, like, I sometimes I forget the name too, because I forget that dude was like, he was like the drug guy or something. The drug deal. I don't even remember. All I know about Voss is that he was the guy. He was the guy you're afraid of. He was the guy chasing you down. And so, like, with each new iteration of like Far Cry, they kept trying to do that. Like, they kept trying to introduce a unique personality to their game. And it worked pretty well with Pagan Min in Far Cry 4, and then Far Cry 5. I didn't really feel it with the preacher guy. I don't even remember his name. That's how forgettable it felt. And then with 6, they got an actor who played Gustavo Fring. I forget the dude's name. I'll look it up right now. So, Giancarlo Esposito. I can't even pronounce his name, and I'm Hispanic. That's really bad. What's it called? Yeah, but they got him, and he's a great actor, but like, if he doesn't have good lines to work with, I mean, his performance could be forgettable, and that's what it felt like. His performance, I felt like, yeah, I could feel I could tell he's doing his best, and it's good, but the lines just, he talks about being the lion all the time, and I'm like, and then he talks about the truth and lies, and I'm like, who talks like that, dude? People don't talk like that sometimes, unless they're crazy. In which case, like, yeah, that makes sense then. He's a crazy guy. But even then, I didn't feel like it was decent enough to like want to keep playing the game or even buy the game. And usually, I feel like this is with Ubisoft. Like, every time they have a good idea, they go way into it, and it turns out even worse. Like with Assassin's Creed. I remember Assassin's Creed 1. Assassin's Creed 1 had a really great idea and premise about collecting information about your targets and eventually using that to your advantage to take out your targets. And then they forgot all about it in Assassin's Creed 2, but Assassin's Creed 2 was still good. They continued that process with Brotherhood, Revelations, like Assassin's Creed 3. They realized that things were getting a little bit too similar to each past game. They were turning to Call of Duty, so after that, 4 was the same. They tried to shake it up with Unity, but Unity was such a colossal failure in its launch that they're like, okay, we have to rebrand again. And so they went with Assassin's Creed Origin, and they're like, okay, this is good. People liked the game, but I didn't like it, but it doesn't matter. People liked it, so they're going to keep going with that. And they're doing the same thing again now with the next couple games. They did the same thing with Assassin's Creed Origin, about Assassin's Creed Valhalla. They're continuing on the same route of like, they tried something new, they see it works, they keep doing it. And then after that, it's like, it gets ridiculous. Like, I remember Watch Dogs. When Watch Dogs first came, not even when it first came out, when they first showed the E3 trailer, That thing was magnificent. And then when it came out, it was like not even the same game. Like, what the hell was that, man? The same thing with the Division. I remember when they first announced the Division, that thing looked incredible. The whole New York landscape, like a post-apocalyptic in a frozen wasteland almost. It looked great. And then when it came out again, it was like bugs. The same thing with Watch Dogs happened with the Division. There was bugs. They brought down the graphics. They brought down a lot of the cool little features that the game had. A lot of cool stuff just like went out the window. The game wasn't the same as they advertised it. It was a completely different experience, and it was not as good as you would hoped. And then Watch Dogs 2 came out, and it was you know, it was okay. It wasn't terrible. But then the new Watch Dogs came out after that, Legion, and it was like, man, I don't know what the hell they were thinking there. And then with the Division 2, like, I haven't played it, but I mean, I haven't heard anything terrible about it, but I haven't heard anything about it. So I mean, clearly, I don't know if that's good or bad. And it sucks, man. I really liked Ubisoft games. I really liked what they were doing in the beginning, like with each of their games. Like they had a great idea, and then after they had that great idea, they tried again, but then they cut back, they scale back because of constraints, I'm assuming, and then just it's a completely different game by the end of it. And then I see the same thing with the new Star Wars Outlaws. I saw comments saying that they scaled back the graphics a little bit from the original, like, Ubisoft Forward. And I'm like, that's only been a couple months. That can't be true, right? And I saw the latest IGN gameplay with Star Wars Outlaws. And yeah, it looked a little bit scaled back, and I was like, oh my god, they do it. Like, what's going on? Why can't what is it? This happens all the time, where they show us a pretty decent product, and then it's a completely different game. And it sucks, man. It really does suck, because Far Cry 6 was a pretty disappointment. It's a pretty big disappointment to me. Like, the gameplay hasn't changed, honestly. It really hasn't. It's the same stuff from Far Cry 3, and they haven't added really anything new other than the Supremos. Los Supremos. And I don't think that's enough to, like, warrant a $60 price tag on it. Or was it 70? Was that? No, it was 60. They just started doing 70 this year. I'm sorry, my bad. This is Far Cry 6 is a couple years ago launch, I think. I just recently started playing it. But yeah, man, that sucks. I don't know if they're gonna keep for the next Far Cry. What are they gonna do? They're gonna add another actor, another famous actor, pay him a decent amount of money to say some terrible lines? I don't know. Disappointment. Those lines, a lot of those lines in Far Cry were pretty bad, man. They were gut-wrenchingly bad. I can't recall a decent moment I had playing that game where I said, wow, this is great writing. No, it was, wow, this is embarrassing. Like, I don't like, who signed off on this? It's the type of things you would think young people would like, and they don't like that. Young people like being degenerates. I guess it's degenerate behavior, but it's like degenerate behavior that nobody wants to see. It sucks. This sucks. I don't know. I'm just complaining to the wind again, because I miss what Far Cry and Assassin's Creed used to be. I really do. And I don't think it's gonna get any better.